much for finding the time to talk to us. And I would like to ask you, how is your presentation connected to the topic of the conference?
So actually I was thinking a little bit, not before I applied to the conference, but I wanted to make some sort of connection with that, because there is, if I remember correctly, teach, train, transform, transcend and trust.
And trust, of course.
So I think that in our job, teacher's job, trust is something that has to be always present, because students have to trust us that we can teach them something, and also we have to trust students that they would be able to give their best, at least that they are willing to learn. I hope that that is a necessary part. And as for my presentation, I think that I can choose the word train. I'm a teacher trainer as well. So the way how I operate and how sometimes I choose some of the topics for presentations like this is that from my experience I try to figure out what is the problem that can happen in the classroom, whether the teachers perceive something or students struggle with something. So try to find a different way how to make things work. So the basic idea was, okay, let's use music, which is part of our lives. We listen to music every single day in different ways.
Yes.
And that we can actually make a step further, not just listen what we usually do, but try to use this piece of music that we can play in the classroom as something that can trigger interest, curiosity. Where does that music piece come from? Who created it? What was the life of that person?
Yes.
For example, I use this today, the example of Bach. A lot of students, oh, that's classical music, we don't listen to that. They shrink when they hear the name, perhaps, if they're not familiar, if they don't go to music school. But one moment that can be really the moment that can actually make connection to our lives today, that he is the father who lost many of his children at a young age. So that's something that everybody can connect to.
Yes.
So it's a loss, great loss in the life of a person. And so he's not just a famous musician. Maybe he wasn't that famous when he was alive. Maybe people treated him differently. But now we have some sort of distance when it comes to music. So it doesn't matter whether it's classical music or what is called world music. I have pieces of music from different parts of the world. It doesn't have to be in English language if we are English teachers. It's simply something that is supposed to trigger the thinking, oh, where does it come from? What is the life out there? What is similar or different? We are all aware that we are different. I have red hair, you have black hair. But there are also some similarities. We are women, we have glasses, we share some mutual experience. So basically, there's so many things that can be discovered as similar, and these differences are not something that are supposed to put more distance or hostility, but something that we can actually use. If we learn about those differences, we can gain more and establish some better kind of life. It seems maybe too hopeful, I don't know how to say, utopistic a little bit, but
no, I think that it's really interesting because music can be a common language, and also what you said and what you mentioned about cultural experiences and how we can share and we can actually feel empathy for the other person, find similarities between our story and their story. So I think it's really nice for the students. What about music production? Do you think that this could be something that can be actually applicable in an English classroom, music production, apart from listening to music products and...
As I'm not a person who can sing, I don't sing at all. I have never been a student of musical school, but I enjoy tremendously to listen to music. So if you talk about production sense and somebody's creating, singing, performing, I'm not really the right person to talk about, though I always, we can all dance, we can all perhaps use sticks or something to create some music, to express the rhythm. So if that's considered music, why not? It would be really something that would make the class much more lively and much more engaging. We all have been listening in all the conference presentations that motivation, engagement is something that is very, very important in teaching anything.
I would like to ask you, what do you enjoy more about what you do as a professional?
Depends on the day when you ask me.
Okay.
On a day like this, I'm all excited. But there are ups and downs as in any profession. So, in a way, I think that it's very rewarding. It seems like a very often used, almost worn-out phrase. It's really rewarding when you feel the progress, when you see the progress in your students, whether they are very young or adults. For example, I have an experience of a man who is 40-something. He came with some very low pre-intermediate level, with some idea just to refresh it for the sake of business. But he was so determined, and I suppose there was some sort of interaction between us. I wouldn't take the credits for that myself. I think that he is a very determined person. But at this moment, we are in a matter of 3 months, we are actually preparing for advanced level exam. So I think that's something that actually is very nice when a teacher meets a person who reacts that way. Not all of them, unfortunately, react the same way, but that feedback you get from your students is something that is really, really good when you have positive. And if it's negative, it's, I think, something like a warning sign for a teacher what I'm doing wrong. Maybe doesn't have to be always a teacher, but something that can be changed about the environment, the approach, that can actually make us be better.
And develop, of course.
Yes.
I would like to thank you very much for your time and for being here. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you.
And of course the Greek weather and Greece in general, as it is your second time, right?
Yes, I must say that I'm really flattered and really feel honored that my presentation was chosen to be here at this important year. I was really impressed when I watched this video today about the whole period of Tassel Greece, how it started and how it developed. And I see that some people are all the time were there. They are so determined, so hardworking, so it's really impressive, and they really honor that I'm part of it.
Thank
at
you
least
very
a little
much.
bit.
Thank you very much for your feedback.